Okay na. Okay na. Okay na. Okay, good afternoon. Last talk for yung FC1. Tama ba? Hindi ba? Diba? Bigla sila ng patingin. Oh, ito talaga akala ko last talk. Okay, last talk for at least today. The title of this presentation is Community and Covenants. Okay, let's begin. If you were to, this is a familiar word, we've heard it many times, and probably you know that the Ligayan ng Panginoon is a covenant community. And we probably don't understand, what is the meaning of the word covenant? Well, basically, covenant is just really a promise. When two individuals, one classic example of covenant, uy, tahimik kayo dyan. Makinig kayo dito. Sorry, sanay kasi ako sa Ateneo eh. Ginagawa ko sa Ateneo, sorry. Kaibigan naman tayo. Okay. So, in the covenant is a promise. Now, one of the places where it's very clearly seen is in marriage vows. No, when two individuals make a promise, what does that mean? Well, a promise will be like this. Okay, I promise you to do this, and if I promise to do something like this, the other person would then know. Okay, alam ko na. I can rely on that person because he made a promise. It could be as simple as this. I promise to go there to that meeting. Okay. If I say that, it means that the other person can expect that I will be there. Now, it expands it to something as serious as two individuals saying, okay, I love you, I will take care of you, till death do us part. We will be together. Now, that kind of promise that's made by two individuals is a covenant. No? And the word covenant in the Bible is often used to describe that kind of promise. Now, usually, it's between two parties. But sometimes, it's also possible that one party would just say this, I promise to be faithful to you. Now, without waiting for the other person to make a promise in return. In the Bible, it seems that it's also very clear that God made a promise to His people without waiting for the recipients of the promise to say yes. He just said, whether you like it or not, I will promise to be faithful to you. So it could also be a one-way street. No? One person making a promise, or in this case, God making a promise to us to be faithful to us. Now, often, a promise is made in the Bible and in many occasions to establish a relationship. Nowadays, if you want to make friends, you don't say this, oh, let's make a covenant. You know, baka lalayuan ka ng kaibigan mo, di ba? But if you were to use a word that describes friendship, covenant is a good word. Because it establishes this, okay? It seems that it's actually good for us to continue relating to each other, and I would find life in this relationship. Okay, let's be friends. Of course, but even that, we don't even declare, di ba? Ang corny nung first time ka lang magkita, sabi mo, pwede ba friends tayo? I mean, first, you're not so sure if the friendship will be reciprocated or if the person that you're talking to would like to be your friend. But it's the after-the-fact relationship wherein two individuals, after so many years of being together, they would say this, oy, we're good friends. Now, that definition of being good friends, I think it's automatic that you're already describing a relationship. No? And the word covenant is a word that describes that kind of experience. You don't use the word covenant unless there is some kind of relationship, even if it's a one-way street. In this case, sometimes, it's also very clear, God makes promises like that. And what they often did also in the Bible is this, they took it so seriously this promise that they made with each other, that they would include God. Marriage is a classic one. They want to say, okay, serious ito ha. Walang iwanan ito. Oh, let's include God ha. Let's make sure that God knows that we are making this promise together and we're doing it in front of God. That adds to the seriousness of that promise that you make. So covenant can also be used in the same way. Now, very clear din ito eh. Relationships and covenant is definitely part of the way we understand the word. Now, God makes use of covenant to establish a relationship. And this is very clear. Look at Exodus. There's this long passage in Exodus, but I will just read a part of it. Here, God was trying to tell His people, after He did some nice things to them, saved them from the Egyptians, classic story, alam nyo na yan. After He did a lot of good things, the Israelites felt, okay, I mean, why would we leave a God who saved us from our enemies? Probably we won't, di ba? If somebody did something good to you, there is an inclination inside of you, you know, I want to keep this relationship with this person because this person is really good. Now, imagine this. This is the same experience of the Israelites. They experienced God in a good way, and probably many of them already said, hey, let's stick with this God because this God saved us. Now, in that context of that experience, God then said something like this, okay, if you obey my voice and keep my covenant, you shall be my own possession among all the peoples. For all the earth is His, and all shall be to me a kingdom, a priest, and a holy nation. To be in a relationship with God was something that the Old Testament people or the Jews wanted. And like the other time we were talking about this, diba? When somebody tells you, oh, obey me. Now, sometimes you would resist an invitation like that. But what if the person inviting you to, hey, obey me, is somebody that you like? Somebody that you want to have a relationship with? Somebody that you want to learn from? Well, the Old Testament people supposedly liked the idea of having a relationship with God. So they say, okay, I mean, come on, obvious naman yan. Yes tayo dyan. And when they did that, they started experiencing, oh, it's not only with God, but we can actually have a relationship with each other and continue relating to God together. Oh. And therefore, if we want to relate to God and relate to each other together, that's a topic previously. You establish a pattern of being together. No? And even amongst us, di ba? Friendship, again, I'm using friendship as a classic example. There's no such thing as this eh. Huy, kaibigan ko tong mga to. Talaga, kailan kayo nagkita? Ano, mga 10 years ago eh. So you met in between? Actually, no. First time we met, we said we're friends, and then we forgot each other after that. I mean, of course, I would then tell myself, itong taong to, nasisiraan to ng bait. Either loner siya, may problema siya, akala niya, kaibigan niya yung mga yon. Because we all know, the moment you say, we are friends, you are talking about a series of events that you could point to that indicate that you have some kind of connection with these people. Not only that, most likely you would say something like this, ay Raoul, grabe, naghiwalay na kami ng college eh. Yung iba nga, nasa ganitong eskwelahan na. But we meet once a month. Talaga? Kahit na iba na yung schedule, oh grabe, kahit na iba na yung schedule namin, we meet once a month. Sometimes nga, di namin hit yung once a month, but we at least once a sem. So, what are they indicating? That there is a serious pattern of being together, right? Because they are in some kind of relationship. Same thing with God and God's people. Now, what was surprising was this. Amidst this effort to create a way of life, a relationship with God, consistently, God's people often would be unfaithful to the relationship. Ang makulit na paulit-ulit na lumalapit sa kanila was the other side of the covenant, and that side is the side of God. And consistently, iniwanan na nga si Lord, iniwanan na nga si God, but you would read some of the passages that you have in your notes, would say something like this. You would then see them experiencing this. God saying, okay, you've been unfaithful. Okay, let's try again. I am your God, and I will be faithful to you. Now, it doesn't stop there, because the Old Testament covenant is then translated. When Christ came into the picture, He said, God did not give up on you. You guys said goodbye, and you said, okay, forget about God. And some of the Jewish stories, that the story of the Jewish nation was a constant unfaithfulness. Here comes Jesus Christ. Of course, we all know His story, right? He talks about God, and we then discover He is God's only Son. There's a lot of things you can say about that. But the New Testament then talks about this. Jesus describes what He was doing as a new covenant. And what's so new about it? Well, it's new in the sense, here is this God again, trying His best to win back God's people. To the point that the new covenant is described this way. Christ then offers His life on the cross. Again, you all know the story. The good news is, whoever believes in Him will not perish but have eternal life. It's like, you see God trying to bring back His people to Himself. That's why the new covenant is described in this striking way. And you show that you are a letter from Christ delivered by us, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God, not on tablets of stone, but on tablets of human hearts. Such is the confidence that we have through Christ toward God. Now, you would only understand this if you are a Jew, and you have a little bit of history about what happened to you as a people. This time, this letter is a letter describing Christians, people who now became a believer in Christ. And then St. Paul uses the same images that the Old Testament people experienced regarding the covenant, and which is what? First, God trying to reach out to them, di ba? Covenant, I love you, I hope you love me. And then, goodbye, Lord. Then, okay, let's try again. Let's have a 10 commandments to help you establish some kind of way of life of obeying me. Again, they disobeyed, they dispersed, and things were not working right. And then suddenly, here comes this experience of God through Jesus Christ that turns the table around, changes everything. And the way the Christians describe that experience is this. Okay, serious na to. God came. And we Christians, we actually have the tables or the 10 commandments in our hearts. And not only that, God is not a distant God, but God sent His Holy Spirit to be part of us. This God who wants to be with us is really with us. Now, for the early Christians, to say something like this was very significant, because they were trying to tell the new set of believers, especially the Jews, hey, this is special, huh? This is something new. The living God, if you look at a Christian, the life of God is already in his heart. And he's like a walking testament of somebody who has a relationship with God. Hoy, okay na tayo. This is something new. What is happening among the Christians is what God wanted from the beginning. And what is that? Having a relationship with us and us having a relationship with one another. grabe na to. We would experience God in a new way. Okay na sana, di ba? Ang saya na eh. Di ba? Wow, Christians, grabe. Bagong covenant. But then recently, I was asked by one of my students in Ateneo, and this student was just being very honest. We were talking about the experience of Christianity, the experience of being a Catholic. And our topic was, do you find your faith having an impact in your life? Yun naman. No? So, ang hope ko, a few of them would say, meron, konti, or sometimes, ganyan. So, but this student was very honest. They said, Sir, naniniwala naman ako kay God eh. Tsaka, okay naman ako eh. Pero, I don't see any sense of going to Mass. Unang-una, sir, punta ako dun. Upo ako, paulit-ulit lang yung sinasabi. Tapos, ito pa. Minsan, ayoko pa yung homily ng pare. I go home and I ask myself, why did I use that 1 hour for that? I should have just studied. Pambait, ano? Gusto ko sasabihin talaga study, But ayoko naman gawin yun. Baka magkaroon kami ng hindi magandang relationship. But anyway, so therefore, if you look at that, brothers and sisters, Christians are supposed to experience this. A relationship with God and a relationship with other Christians that would make being a Christian something that's real. But this is not real eh. Tama rin siya. Parang hindi ko sa pwede sabihin, sige, balik ka na lang. Balik ka dun sa parish na yon, ulitin mo yung homily, tas mainis ka ulit. Gawin mo every week, ha? A part of me, then I suddenly said it, okay. Because Christianity is not supposed to be experienced that way. Christianity, for it to really be real, you need to have some kind of experience with God. And not only that, you have to have relationships with other Christians that are real. Because the letter of St. Paul was written for a community who probably saw each other every week, talked about the same thing, most likely heard some boring homilies from St. Paul, but they stuck together. And why did they stick together? Because most likely, they had relationships. They had a concrete experience of their Christian life being real because of their connection to each other and to God. So it's understandable that my student is complaining like that. Because in reality, he is not experiencing what Christianity is supposed to be. Understandable eh. That's why I think you have to appreciate that what we're doing in community and some communities like us is we're trying to renew this idea of covenant. Our covenant is a renewal covenant. Para bang dapat ang mga Kristiyano may covenant with God and with each other. But it's not happening. And our kind of work in community is one of the places where we see that this covenant is being renewed. No? This kind of relationship with God and relationship with each other. Look, because covenants the renewal covenants are meant to establish some kind of order for a people. What's order here? A pattern of life, which we already talked about. Right? Now, I will just make this practical para naman hindi kayo, kasi the only way I could talk about this is making it practical eh. Let's talk about, let's analyze our commitments in community, which is, you all know by this time, is an effort to duplicate this real experience of covenant. The new covenants that we are supposed to have as Christians. So, what do? First and foremost, we establish this community is only possible, if the members in it make a choice and say, okay, yes, we will have a covenant with each other, which means we will commit to each other in relationships. And in these committed relationships, we would then try to support each other in the Christian life. So therefore, we will try to live out this covenant description in the New Testament. Now, this community is only possible if there are people crazy enough, well, I'm just using that to make you at least realize, crazy enough to actually say, oh, sige nga, let's actually commit to each other and support each other in the Christian life. Let me make this concrete. Last Friday, I had a very interesting, wala siya dito. Kung makarating man sa kanya to, okay lang. I have a student now who's part of the community. Of course, kaya naman siguro niya ako kinuha dahil because I'm a wonderful lecturer. It's not because let's just say that she got me just because I'm a great lecturer. Not because she knows she will get a good grade. Anyway, ganito yung drama. Normally, in Ateneo, we would have oral exams. And the oral exams are a quick way, just for those Ateneans here, it's a quick way for teachers like me to grade something quickly. In 10 minutes, may grade na. So, it's a good way. And it's also a good way to review. No? So, students are supposed to line up, take a particular slot, and talk to the teacher for 10 to 15 minutes. So, ganyan yung context. So, pasok siya. Alam ko na member siya ng community. Biglang, sabi ko, hey, kamusta? Welcome. Okay. Siya naman, very formal. Sir, yeah, sir. Yeah. Pag-upo niya, eto, sabi niya, so sabi ko, how are you? So parang small talk muna. Lahat naman sila ini-small talk ko eh. So how are you? Sabi niya, una kinuha niya muna yung question niya. So alam niya na yung question niya. So, how are you? Sabi niya, Kuya Raoul. Bigla siya Kuya Raoul. No? Kuya Raoul. Sabi niya, I had a bad day. Yesterday. Friday yun, ano? Wednesday ba? Limutan ko na. Kailan ba namatay si Chiki? Thursday, right? So Friday. Tama, Friday yun. So Thursday, sabi niya, the previous day, I had a bad day. Talaga? Sabi ko, bakit naman? Why did you have a bad day? Kasi, Ate Jiki died yesterday. Yes, si Jiki. And ako rin, I was recovering from that. No? So ito na. And at some point, sabi ko, sige, sagutan mo yung exam. No? So sinagutan niya, kinang konti. No? But then, I don't know what happened, but we got back to Jiki. No? Sabi niya, Kuya, sorry, pero kasi Jiki was a significant person in my life eh. She started narrating how Jiki was there for certain experiences in her life that were really challenging. So after niya nagkwento, ako tuloy, nagkwento rin. Ako rin kasi, si Jiki kasi, estudyante pa siya. Then she became part of community and si Khalil, kilala ko rin. And we had, and then after a while, umiyak na ako. So umiyak na rin siya. So habang umiiyak siya, sabi ko, you know what? This thing that we're doing in community is crazy eh. So sabi niya, parang nagulat siya. Kuya, why do you say it's crazy? Ang daming beses ko nang umiyak eh. This is not the first time eh. I cried the time when Kuya Paolo and Portia, you know them? Lost their child. I really cried. Ito pa eh, nakakainis. Ito, minsan na ako magka-inaanak sa binyag na lalaki. Namatay pa. Talaga, Kuya Raoul, sige. Sabi ko siguro niya, pag kami anak akong lalaki, hindi ko gagawin kong ninong. Malamang nasa isip niya. But then, sabi ko, si Johnny and Zub Perez, I was the ninong of their child and when that child died, grabe, it was just so sad. Then I looked at her. And when I was typing in my Facebook, hey, please help this child by the name of Phoebe. And I know their parents, they're close friends of mine. When I sent it out, sabi ko doon sa estudyante ko, I could really tell people, Khalil is my friend. I have a relationship with these people. Sabi ko sa kanya, grabe, ba't natin pinapasukan ito? Siguro mas masaya tayo kung wala tayong masyadong mga ganyan, para di tayo masyadong umiiyak. Diba? Kasi sa dami ng relationship natin, I'm anticipating that I would probably cry a little more than just this. And then we stop. But isn't it a sad world if we don't have relationships? If we can't talk about people that we journey with. And I said, and the only reason why I have relationships with these people is because they are part of our community. And ito nakakatawa. By this time, tinatanong ko yung sarili ko, ano bang grade ng binigay ko dito sa loob ito? Ano ba yung sagot niya? So, medyo nagpanik ako ng konti kasi I could not remember her answer eh. Kasi she answered at some point eh. Pero nang nag-iiyakan na kami, nakalimutan ko na eh. So, I actually looked at my grade book. Medyo mataas yung binigay ko. Sabi ko, gusto kong papawiin ko ba ito? Pero hindi ko maalala eh. So, malamang mataas yun. Whatever it was that she said probably was a very good answer. And I remember, she was standing up, and sabi niya, Kuya Raoul, I mean, it's possible for us to cry, sabi niya, but we will be alone, if we don't have relationships. I'm not saying that outside community you can't have relationships. I mean, it's obvious you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. You could, right? You could. But what we're trying to do here in community is something significant. That the family of Jiki, last night I was talking to the father, and the father was talking to me, and as we were talking to each other, I really he felt that he was talking to a relative. He was talking, because the way he treated me, his relatives were butting in. Pero yun sa ibang mga relatives, parang, sige. As okay, alam mo kasi, ganyan. As may father na relative, pasok. As, sige. Alam mo kasi, Raoul, talaga ganyan. And I said to myself, I am just a co-member of your daughter-in-law, of a community. But then, of course, I didn't want to tell him that because I think, just by gut feel, this was the first time we're meeting each other, I've not met him before. And when I said goodbye, he even told me, Raoul, let's have a conversation again, We are together for a purpose, And behind this idea of covenant, with it is idea of a God who wants to have a relationship with us. And then he tells us, in my relationship with you, I want you to create a relationship with each other. And within these relationships that you have with each other, you are to help each other follow the Lord. And it's a way for us to renew, in a significant way, our own commitment to the Lord. What's the purpose of all these relationships? Well, in community, it's very clear to us that these relationships are meant to help us in our commitment to God. Can we do it on our own? I mean, yes, it's possible. But community was designed in such a way that we experience what the early Christians talked about. The, 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 the tablets are written in their hearts. The Holy Spirit is in them. Now, he's not talking about individuals, he's talking about a community. That's why in community, and this is the ending thing, we experience in the concrete the idea of faithfulness or steadfastness. What's that? Well, it's that consistent action of a person who says to you, hey, I will be there for you. Gaano katagal? As long as we're alive. Now, let me just give a description of my experience of this in the concrete. When my father died of cancer, before that, we had only, I was worried, because in the bank of my parents, they only had 300,000 pesos. And I said, how will this work? Cancer is an expensive disease. And that was the last thought I had. Paano ko magagawa ito? And of course, the community found out about it. And in the community, regularly I would go to a community event. They would say, I remember talking to my tito, hey Raoul, mama, I heard about your mom. Oh, by the way, ito yung cheque for your mom. For your dad. No? Toto. Then, and all throughout the time, I was getting help to the point that I even had some sisters go to my house to cook food for my parents because me and my two sisters were out. So dami niyan. During the week, bigayan ng pera and helping, and then different people that I did not even know in community send money to us. By the time we computed our money and everything that we spent more than close to 3 million pesos. And I don't know where we got it. Maybe a combination from my relatives, but a lot of it came from community. Ito pa. Because they found out that my mother had Parkinson's disease and we needed money for her. People added some money this time, for your mom. Kasi wala na yung daddy mo. And by the time we computed everything, we had 500,000 pesos in the bank of my parents. Now, this is not a sales pitch. Boy, come join community. Pag walang kayo ng pera, alam ninyo, dito lang talaga kayo. Hindi kayo mag-iisa. It could be a sales pitch like that. But other organizations can make that claim. But my brother-in-law, in our family meeting, said something that was very striking. One of my sisters said, grabe, paano natin naalagaan si mama? Baka magkaroon pa tayo ng marami pang gastos. Then my brother-in-law, out of the blue, said, ikaw naman, hindi mo ba nakita? Ang dami mong kamag-anak, yung ligaya ng Panginoon. Hindi mo ba alam yun? Hindi nila kayo iniwanan. Sa tingin mo, iiwanan kanila ngayon? Steadfastness and faithfulness is a word that's often used not to describe people today. Because in our society, there's even a talk about just accept divorce is needed. There are some reasons why we need to help people who are in a bad marriage to find a way out, yes. But it's becoming an accepted thing. When people make promises, we all know that promises are meant to be broken. It's just an accepted reality today. When you make a promise, good luck. But we're trying to live out this concept of covenant, which already existed in the Old Testament, in the New Testament. Wherein God said, if no matter what, I will be with you. But He also said, but you guys have to find a way that you also make that same commitment to each other. But if not, you cannot experience what I am offering you. So again, brothers and sisters, this is a talk on covenant and commitment, covenant and community. And I hope that you saw some of the truths that we're trying to live out in community because we want to live out this concept called covenant that existed from the beginning in the Old Testament and is supposed to be experienced by Christians today. So we are trying our best to make it a reality for Christians like you and me. Now, this will only work if there are crazy people who would say something like this. Dito sa community na ko, iiyak ako dito eh. Dadami masyado yung kaibigan ko eh. Dadami yung mamahalin ko. Pero sige, maybe this is really what is best for me. And I think I don't regret looking at this student of mine. Grabe, no? Sa community na to, iiyak tayo. So parang sabihin, iiyak tayo, pero magkakaroon ka ng mataas na grade, hindi ko alam. Kasama na ng trigger sa community yun. Pero hindi ko na sinabi sa kanya yun. Ano? But again, I think that's something that we all hopefully would understand as we look back at this particular talk. Community and covenant is a way that we would like to participate in the work of God, of trying to renew Christian life in this day and age. Okay, thank you very much.